right, we are back at you Monday morning on Always Auburn, and there is some shaking up going on in the Plains right now. Damari Alston, our senior running back, also a captain of the team, one of the captains on the team, has reportedly quit the team and dismissed himself from the program. That is what is being reported on social media as of now. There's not too much into that story, but I imagine as the day continues and the week continues, some things will be revealed on why he decided to do this and if this is actually 100% accurate. But it's kind of funny because I was actually going to talk about Damari Austin today. When I woke up this morning and I thought about what I was going to talk about on the show, I kind of figured I'd do one more day of really looking back at this weekend and looking back at the Georgia game and just the disappointment. And I wanted to really highlight Damari Austin as a part of this disappointment. And I don't know. I'm not going to speculate and say that this has anything to do with him leaving the team. But if it is, I wouldn't be surprised. I really go back to the play when we lost the fumble. Now, I've already been kind of critical, and I haven't made it known really on the show, but just people who know me, we've had discussions and stuff, and I've made it a point to be critical of Damari Alston. I really do not think he is that good. I don't think he has good vision. It almost looks like he runs with his head down. He does not stride in his runs. He does not hit the hole hard. It's a lot of short, choppy steps in it once he gets the ball, and I don't know if that's because he's been injured and he doesn't want to get hurt and he's just not, and he wants to kind of savor his career in the respects that he did get a chance to go to the NFL, that he didn't want to completely take that off the table by getting a devastating injury that could end his football career as a tailback, because their lifespans, as far as career wise, are not very long in the NFL. They don't last long. Running backs don't. That's just what history tells us, just due to the nature of the game and always constantly taking hits and really kind of getting beat up on throughout the game and throughout their careers. It's not a position that really lasts for long. You got to take the good and then kind of really get out of there at the running back position. So I don't know if he plays with a cautious mindset, but on that fumble in the end zone, it sure did look like that. It sure did look like while that ball sat there on top of the offensive lineman and the Georgia players after it came out of Jackson Arnold's hand, Damari Austin had all the opportunity to grab that football, to fall on that football and fall into the end zone, whatever the case may be. I don't believe that he didn't see it. I just don't believe that. Now, I could be wrong, and the kid might have never saw the football right there, but it's right in front of your face, Damari Austin. You were the only person who really was around it that was not engaged in all the chaos that was within the line of scrimmage as far as the tush push. You weren't blocking, you weren't being blocked, you weren't being hit. His body demonstrated that as soon as the play really started and everybody collided there, he went in like he was going to try to help push, but he kind of really didn't. And he sidestepped his way out of the play to make sure he didn't get rolled up on or anything like that. And he really used his hands to shield other people from engaging with him, protecting the bottom part of his body. He did that. I watched the replay, and while he's doing that and getting out of the way, the ball is right in front of him. He was not unbalanced where it would have been a funky type of, I'm leaning this way and I can't really get to the ball because my body's carrying me away from it. And it wasn't any of that. I mean, all he had to really do was commit himself to getting that football. And we might be having a different conversation today, to tell you the truth. Because I said it yesterday, I do believe that was a fumble. I hate to say it, I'm an Auburn fan, and you wish as an Auburn fan, just everything we've endured so far this year, that something would go our way. Now, do I think you could call that either way? I do. I think if it was ruled a touchdown on the field, it would have been very hard to overturn it, just because of how the play was so bang bang and it was so enclosed right there and the yardage was so small, and you really had to zoom in to try to analyze the goal line and where the ball was, what point of the ball was there, all in the same time. You had to really try to see if the ball was moving. So I really feel like the refs did what the rule says: uphold the call on the field if there is not complete, indisputable evidence that can overturn that. I think the refs did their job in that case scenario on that play. I think that you called it a fumble on the field. It should have been the call should have been upheld. Now I did not ever hear a whistle blowed. Now I could be wrong. They might have, because I was on the other side of the stadium. But I didn't hear a whistle blowed while the ball was rolling around. I think that play was stopped um, before it should have been, to tell you the truth. I think Georgia actually, if that was a fumble, then I think Georgia actually should have been awarded a touchdown, because the young man who fumbled the ball and took it up the sideline, he never hit the ground. He picked the ball up, and so if it's a fumble and you were never ruled down, you can advance the football. That's neither here nor there. That's another thing that they need to sort out in Birmingham, and really start looking at these referees like you're letting the game down. But and also that also might have been a point. Damari Alston never. He was the main person in that play who was just completely freed himself from all the chaos in there. That looked like his ultimate, what he was trying to do. His ultimate intention was to get out of there, because he didn't go after the football when Georgia picked it up and Kirby's telling the boys to run down the field. He didn't go after him. And he's in the thing, the camera doesn't lie. And I don't have his vantage point. Damari Austin and I do not have the same set of eyes. But it's just hard for me to believe that he didn't see all this, that he didn't see that ball sitting right in front of his face for 2 seconds, and that he didn't see the Georgia player pick it up and try to advance it down the field while everybody else is in the pile. I think Cam Coleman was out wide on the other side, so he's away from it. Jackson's, in the midst of it, and the offensive linemen are doing their job. While everybody else was involved in all that, Damari Austin freed himself from the play and in what looks like efforts to keep himself out of harm's way. And that's just not dedication. That's lazy. That is a lack. It's not even just lazy. That is a lack of want. That is a lack of motivation. That is a letdown to your teammates. That is just, it's disloyalty. It's selfish. And like I said, I'm speculating. And if that has something to do with him leaving the team, then I have a feeling that some guys might have saw that. Some guys, maybe some of these defensive guys we have who are really balled in, and kind of said, "Hey man, what are you doing? If you don't want to be with us, then get away from us." And that might have been his ticket out the door. I'm not going to go too much further with that because I don't know yet. But Damari Austin was definitely going to be my main topic today, and that play of him not going after the football, regardless of everything around it. Was it a fumble? Was the defense offsides? Why is Coach Freeze even going up under center? It was a recipe for disaster, because we don't do that. Besides all that, Damari Austin, you are expected as a football player for this university to lay it all on the line every single play. You can't leave me with the argument anymore that these guys have a right to do that because they're saving their stock for the NFL so they can get paid and have a future and a career one day. No, you get NFL money as of today at Auburn University through name, image, likeness, and collectives that pour into this program. You get that. So you have no excuse for not leaving it all on the field and preserving yourself or efforts to preserve your future. Not saying go out there and try to get hurt and try to kill yourself or try to have a season ending career-ending injury. I'm not saying that, but it's a nature of the game. It's a violent sport, and you commit yourself to play this game. So you should commit yourself to your teammates and the prosperity of the program that you play for, Damari Austin. And by not going after that football, you failed every Auburn fan. You failed every coach. You failed every one of your teammates if you knew that that ball was right there and you intentionally got out, removed yourself from that play. That's what I wanted to talk about today. Damari Austin has been a disappointment in my mind all season. Jeremiah Cobb took your spot as a team captain because he's better than you, in my opinion. The drive when we kicked field goals, when we kicked a field goal, I think it was the second drive we had the ball. We marched the ball down the field. People fail to realize that it really could have been 21-0. Never mind 17-0. We were on like the 4-yard line that second drive. And you know what Auburn did? I don't know why Jeremiah Cobb was taken out of the game, but you know what Auburn did? We sent Damari Alston out there because I think Coach Freeze wanted to get him a touchdown, to tell you the truth, which that's a story. That's me speculating too. But I'm going to tell you what I saw from the back side. I was watching that looking from the back view because that was in the end zone away from where I was sitting. So that was my vantage point. I was behind the play. And the first carry that they gave Damari Austin was off tackle to the left side. And it really looked like it was supposed to be a reverse to Eric Singleton. If you go back and watch the film, and you can watch it from that view, and you can see Eric Singleton, he reversed. It was handed to Damari in the shotgun coming this way to go off tackle. Eric Singleton was kind of lined up over the tight end in a little short spot right there, closer inside of the slot, but not exactly up on the line of scrimmage, kind of in between the two. And he reversed his field and came behind Damari Austin, and the play got blown up. And Damari never had the chance to hand the reverse. The reverse was there, but you know what failed? Damari Austin is slow. He doesn't hit the hole. He chops his feet and lets the defense get to him. So that play never had a chance because he couldn't get to the spot to meet Eric Singleton and give him the ball. Because if he does, there's nobody on the other side. And Singleton walks in the end zone. Georgia over pursued that play. It was a perfect play call, if that's what it really was. And I really think it was, because as soon as that play was over, there was a stoppage of play. It was either a timeout. I think Georgia might have called a timeout. There was a stoppage of play. And I pay attention to the details. Eric Singleton went straight to Damari Austin, and they talked right there. So I really believe that was supposed to be a reverse, and Damari Austin failed that play because he's slow and he hesitates when he gets the ball. The next play was given to Damari Austin, off tackle to the right side. I think this might have been the third down play, and we had to kick a field goal the next play. If he hits the hole, now does he score? Do they meet him on the goal line and maybe stand? Maybe. But we were about on the 6 because we lost 2 yards before on the play that was supposed to be the reverse. So it was about 6 yards out, and I don't think he got a yard. I think we ended up kicking the field goal from right there. I don't think he got a yard, but it was there. It was. I was watching from the back view. The field was open, and he tiptoed in the hole, hesitated, and allows the defense to gain ground on him instead of hitting the hole wide open. And I don't know if that factors into the same thing that I was talking about with the goal line, that he's trying, because he has dealt with injuries, that there's something telling him to holding him back from giving it his all because he doesn't want to hurt himself, because he wants to preserve his chance to go to the next level and play football, which is ridiculous. They pay you money now. Even before that, it's still ridiculous. Don't get me wrong. You play football. Your job, you came to play football, and you came to give everything you got to this university. But now it's even more ridiculous because you can't even argue that, well, I gotta get paid, change my family's life, build a foundation for my family and generational wealth and this, that, and the third. I'd hate to lose that opportunity because I got hurt. Because that's a valid argument, back in the day when they didn't get paid. That's a valid argument. You'd hate to see that opportunity wasted for someone who really deserved it and really needed it, just because some unfortunate things happen and a player gets injured. But now you can't even make that argument because you're making the money while you're walking through Tiger Walk with your, $15,000 gold chain on and your $20,000 teeth, because I see it. I was there, and I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be real. I speak facts. I speak the truth. I'm not afraid to speak my opinion, and that's the truth. That is the truth. So that's not an excuse anymore. There's no excuse for not laying it all on the line, getting hurt regardless. If that's a chance, a possibility, it doesn't matter. It doesn't trump you giving it your all. At the end of the day, that's what defines you. That's what matters. So, like I said, I'm not going to speculate too much on that with Damari Alston, but man, if you pick up that football right there, we might not be having this discussion today. And you had every opportunity to pick that football up. You chose to get out of the way for whatever reason. And hey, man, if that's what led you to maybe get pushed out of the door, I don't know. Then I think it's justified, to tell you the truth. I think I don't know what Freeze's future looks like, but I think you reward Cobb, which we have been. He's kind of filled that role as the number one tailback, and I think you continue to reward Cobb for everything he's given to this program. And I think you start putting Omar Mapson in there. Darrell Williams is hurt. Darrell Robinson, excuse me. I think that's his name. Maybe it is Williams. I'm not sure. The young man who transferred from UConn, I think he's still hurt with the thigh injury. We've heard about Omar Mapson. What about Alvin Henderson? You know, he was like the best running back coming out of the state of Alabama last year. What's he got going on? Like, it baffles me. That kind of leads me to one other thing I want to say. What I saw, and that's really disappointing, is that and this comes back to maybe Hugh Freeze just isn't all the way bought into what you have to do as a head coach. I saw a player out there Saturday night that was very highly recruited, and people have speculated. There hasn't been much talk about it, but people have speculated that maybe he just hasn't developed or whatever. But Perry Thompson is another Cam Coleman. He really is. He really is. Now, do I think maybe Cam Coleman has a little more upside? Yeah, maybe. He might be able to jump a little higher and do a few other things a little better. Perry blocks better than Cam, I feel like. Just to be real, I feel like Perry Thompson blocks better than he does. Um, but that is a weapon. And I just don't know how much we've poured into him as a coaching staff. Because I see him as a player who, every time he caught the ball Saturday night, he got yards. He didn't catch the ball but a few times, but every time he did, he challenged the defense to tackle him. Now, did he have any explosive plays where he busted it, and broke 5 tackles and scored or got six? No, but it was a challenge. It wasn't a catch the ball and he's going to fall down type player. It was a challenge for Georgia's secondary to tackle Perry Thompson the few times he did get the ball. And this is a 5-star player, top, whatever, 10 wide receiver in the country that came to Auburn when Cam came to Auburn, who has sat on that bench for the majority of his first 2 years here and watched from the sideline, that can really do it all, in my opinion. And why are we not pouring the development and the process and the confidence into this young man? I don't understand. I don't understand it whatsoever. Is it because maybe Hugh Freeze is the only thing he's really doing is pouring himself into one quarterback every year, spending all his time and energy into one quarterback? Peyton Thorne, first year, Peyton Thorne, second year, Jackson Arnold, third year. Are none of these other quarterbacks an option because you try to pour it all into one and you don't have the energy or the will to take the time to give every one of them your best? Then that's a shame. Then that's why we're left with what we're left with after these heartbreaking losses. Because our head coach doesn't have the will and the want and the desire and the passion to give it all to our program, which that's all we want out of a head coach. It sounds like it's simple. Like, I know it's not simple. I know it's not. I know it requires sacrifice, and you miss a lot of things with your family, and you don't get to go play golf over the summer, and you might not get to take that trip to Hawaii or wherever else your daughter wants to go, or whatever. Nothing against them. But if you're not willing to make those sacrifices, this is what happens. I'm going to continue to say it. It's about the details. It's not about going to find Jackson Arnold and trying to draw up a first half game plan to beat Georgia, but then not having an answer when they make adjustments. It's about the summer. It's about giving Ashton Daniels all the opportunity, just like you gave it to Jackson Arnold. It's about giving Deuce Knight all the confidence and all the equal opportunity to go out there and earn a position like you gave Jackson Arnold. Football is a game of toughness. And I'm going to keep saying it. Hugh Freeze is not tough. Mentally, I don't know about his physical state. He's older, and I know he's dealt with some health issues. And I hate that for him. We're talking about football here, nothing personal. Get somebody who's tough, Auburn. Who his mentality will reflect in the players, and we won't have players like Damari Alston that won't sacrifice his body to ensure a touchdown when the ball's sitting right in front of you. It all reflects, and it starts at the top. we'll learn more about the news with Damari Alston. Not sure about how all that really unraveled, but we will learn the news. I'll talk a little more about it, and the more I hear, the more I'll kind of go into it. And unless something else really pops in my head or there's some breaking news out of Auburn, I want to move away from the Georgia game and let that be that and really start to look at Missouri. Even though I want to hear something done, man. I want to hear some accountability from the AD, who I like John Cohen. I like how he got in the referees' faces and all that. It shows that he's passionate about the program. But I want to hear what everybody else wants to hear. What are we going to do that's different? Because it's supposed to be different by now. This is what Coach Freeze told us when he got the job, that it would be different at this point. And we were patient. We believed it. And it's that time. So we want to know what's different. What are we going to do so that we don't get embarrassed in our home stadium against teams that we really don't like? That's another thing. I have nothing to do with the production, and they're probably not listening to this or anything. Man, get Kirby Smart, get Nick Saban, get Steve Sarkisian, and all these other people who are outside of our program, who don't support our program. Get them off the Jumbotron talking about how tough it is to play in Jordan-Hare Stadium. Because guess what? They come in here and win. I don't want to see it as a fan. Get them off of there talking about anything. I don't want to see it anymore. Please. I'm almost fed up with the swag surfing too, because it's old and it's played out and it's rehearsed clearly by the players for some kind of NIL collective, fundraiser or whatnot. It's rehearsed. They take a group of walk-ons or, semi-good players that might not get in the game, and they put the camera on them and they dance. It's old news, Auburn. We did it one or two times when it was good, when things were good, and it sparked the environment, it sparked the crowd. I don't like it as a tradition, to tell you the truth, because it's not pure. It's not genuine. Nobody wants to swag surf in the fourth quarter when we've lost all hope in the stadium because we continue to see our coaching staff put out their disappointment after disappointment. I don't want to do it. That's just my opinion. So if I get some backlash, it is what it is. So anyways, we'll be back at you either later on today or tomorrow. We're going to get into Missouri tomorrow and really start to discuss that game. I got to do some film study on them. I already know a little bit about them with their tailbacks and just a little bit about how Eli Drinkwitz coaches. And we'll do a little diagnosis of them and kind of see what Auburn needs to do to prepare for this weekend. We'll catch you later. War Eagle.
Roads all great interior whenever it's cloudy. Every day bit of my go from chasing health and wealth, not clout. Baddies under my belt, I cook like a chef, I'm Mr. Chow. Hey, me going